We'll kick things off. I've just got someone from my team updating it so that the chat will start running again very soon. But thank you everyone for joining. So we have about 45 minutes or so of content to run through today. And what we're talking through today is launching your side business or your side hustle with confidence. And really, this is a topic that's really close to our hearts. I'm here representing Lawpath, and we have Suzanne representing GoDaddy, and I'll let her introduce herself shortly. But really, we wanted to run through this session as we know that it's becoming something that's very much in vogue, being able to have an opportunity to have an additional stream of income coming through from a side business in either a specialty that you feel like maybe you're not completely embracing. Maybe there's a certain passion area that you'd like to look into more, but it's a great opportunity through a side business to really be able to kind of explore things beyond potentially your 9 to 5. So got quite a range of different areas that we want to cover off on today, which is really talking about why there's great benefits in doing this, really then talking through choosing a business idea and then running through a few things around actually what comes into your business name, picking the right structure, how you can go about setting up online, which is what all of the majority of side businesses will be looking to do today, is make sure that they've got something that's scalable and set up for ongoing and always on success. How we go about getting our first customer as well, and then what that leads then into future customers, and then how across Lawpath and GoDaddy we can really look to help, and then finally finishing off with some Q&A. So to kick things off a little bit about Lawpath. So I know there'd be a few customers on this call already, but basically the real focus of what we do at Lawpath is that we offer smart, simple legal for small businesses. And we really aim to be an online legal platform that can help a business all the way through from the point of registration, so helping them to actually set up with an entity, to then being able to manage their compliance through every step of their journey. So helping them out with legal contracts, helping them being able to sign and execute contracts online, and being able to connect them with lawyers on demand, for really being able to support all of those stages of the journey. And our philosophy at Lawpath is really, we want to help a business to be able to really invest as much of its resources as possible into growing and establishing a really fantastic business. And you can really do that without the need for having to focus too much on the way of too heavy investment, particularly in the early stages in legal protection. And that's where we really look to help. So, as we said here, we've had quite a bit of success so far, and we're at a point now where we're the top-rated online legal solution across Australia. And this is an area that's really passionate for us, given how many of these style of businesses that we come in, as we'll talk about a little bit later. But we're very lucky to have Suzanne Mitchell on the call here as well, and she can give us a bit of an introduction into what you do at GoDaddy. So Suzanne, I won't take the limelight off you. I'll let you go through and offer this introduction to yourself and how GoDaddy can help.
Amazing, thanks, Tom. So I head up the Australian business for GoDaddy, and GoDaddy, for those of you who haven't heard about us, it's a global business, and we have all the products for businesses that they need to help them succeed online. So our mission is really around empowering entrepreneurs. And as I said, we are a global business. We have 21 million customers. We have 84 domains under management. One of our points of difference is our tech experts that sit as our guides and support entrepreneurs on their journey, and they've had 14 million human guided moments. So I always hear really positive things about the interactions when our customers talk to our tech guides to help them on their journey. We offer a range of products. So basically, as I said, everything you need to get your business online. We also work with our customers to ensure that they don't just start and launch with GoDaddy, but they grow with us, and we're with them each step of the way on their business journey. So the products, to make it sort of more real for you, we are the leading domains registrar in Australia. We also sell Microsoft email, so the matching email addresses to suit your domain name, and I'll talk more about that later. We have website builder products that you can use and get into yourself, And we also have more advanced technical products. And then we also have a website design services team that do it for you if you're tech and time poor. We sell reliable and fast hosting services, comprehensive security, and a range of marketing offerings as well in SEO and social media and products that ensure your business is found online. So yeah, that's pretty much the GoDaddy story. Thanks, Tom.
Great. Thanks, Suzanne. And it looks like that we've got the chat up and running now as well. And it's great to see that one of the first messages that's come in here from Glenn is GoDaddy is awesome. Love what they've offered my business. So
great. Thanks, Glenn.
That's always fantastic to see. Awesome. So let's get stuck into it. We've got quite a bit to cover today and quite a broad range of topics. But the first thing that we just wanted to talk about, we talked about it a little bit in the introduction, but really what goes in and why we should look to start a side business. And there's a lot of reasons that are attached to it. For a lot of people now, when we've got quite high inflation here locally, and everyone's feeling a little bit of a pinch when it comes to cost of living and really being able to keep on top of things, it can offer a really great additional stream of income to bring in, which can really help from a financial security perspective. So you see a lot of side businesses really starting in that, I guess, that realm of necessity maybe to begin with, but then it really blossoming into something. But for a lot of people, it's also to explore their passions. So they might find that there's a certain itch that they're not particularly scratching through their 9-to-5 work, but that they're really wanting to explore in a greater sense. And so it offers a great opportunity there as well. Skills development. So you might have, maybe you're working in a certain field, potentially you're in finance for a 9-to-5 job, and you're thinking, what can I do I really want to look at things like, I've got a great interest in product, I've got a great interest in marketing, and I want to really be able to explore those areas a little bit more and get some hands-on experience. And starting a side business is one of the great ways that you can really throw yourself in the deep end there. There's obviously great potential for growth, and that really comes from both a financial and a personal development side of things as well. And then if things are to turn out and work successfully for you, it can be something that offers really a great amount of flexibility as well. Often side businesses aren't really coming with the real set hours that you might have with your standard full-time job. So it can be something that you can really jump into as much as you give yourself the availability to do. And people really love the fact that they can kind of jump in and hover in and out of that and get something going. And we see this all the time at Lawpath. And one of the things that we discovered over particularly this last 12 months, is that this is an area of our business that's continuing to grow. And it's at a point now where 1 in 4 of the businesses that are started on Lawpath are at a point where it's not their primary source of income. So they're working a full-time job. Potentially they might be working in multiple businesses, and they've gone to actually go out and start a new business to bring in an additional stream of income. So there's a range of different examples here. We see a lot of service-based businesses getting started. So things like dog washing businesses, lawn mowing businesses. We see quite a bit in the way of things like consulting and professional services. And I know Suzanne's got some really great statistics to share with us on what that looks like at a broader scale. And then I wanted to just kind of identify a couple of other ones that we see. So here's an example, a company called Paint Juicy. And so they've created a paint and sip experience, but it's an interesting one where it was actually a side business that was built out of a media business known as Juicy Media. And they found, well, we've got an extra space here. There could be an opportunity for us to use that outside of office hours for being able to offer something that we're really passionate about. And that was really the genesis of Paint Juicy. And then I've got a photo there of my co-founder and the CEO of Lawpath, Dom. And so he has his own side hustle business. And it's something that at Lawpath, we really look for everyone to embrace. So Dom has an Uber training business that he's run for a number of years now that helps Uber trainers who are looking to improve their customer experience and their ratings, being able to do that through a series of courses. So it's something that we see a lot of, and that we're very experienced in being able to look at. And I know, Suzanne, there's some great research that GoDaddy's pulled on this topic as well, if you want to take us through that.
Sure, yeah, Tom. We did quite comprehensive research in May this year to really unpick the this trend of side hustlers. And look, it's not a new trend. It's something that has been around for a long time. But I think with the climate that we're in from a financial perspective, side hustles are becoming more and more important for people to manage their money. It gives people an outlet that they may not have thought about in the past. So on average, what we found was half of the side hustlers that we surveyed, their startup costs were under $1,000. They were 28 years old, which may be a few years back for me now, but 28 years old when they first started. And they roughly spend about 12 hours a week on their business. And prior to doing this research, I've worked at GoDaddy for quite a few years now. There was always this sentiment from budding side hustlers that they didn't have the setup costs or the money to set up properly. They didn't have the time, and they were just had this fear of getting started. And it's actually interesting. A lot of this research shows that what was perceived as barriers are really just perceptions and not reality. In last year, the side hustlers made an average of $21,000 in revenue, and 3/4 of that side hustler audience have an online presence, and they see the importance of having an online presence to connect with their customers. And with the prevalence of website building tools like GoDaddy's, again, I'll talk you through them in a moment, they're so much easier to build and navigate now. So 3/4 of the side hustlers built an online presence in just a week. And then new trends around AI, we're hearing this everywhere. AI, obviously, from a small business perspective and a side hustler perspective, it really is the promise of saving us time. And almost 1/3 have already used AI services in their business. And look, that is going to be the future, where people and side hustlers lean on that technology to give them back more time, which, as I said, was one of the barriers for starting a side hustle in the first instance. So lots of myths busted there, and myths that have been around for a long time. So yeah, exciting to see the impact of side hustlers on Australians' revenue streams, giving everyone an opportunity to make a difference. The next slide here is just the buzz that's around side hustlers in the market at the moment. And obviously you'll get the deck shared with you afterwards, and there's some links on the top articles there straight into the articles talking about this theme and trend. And some of the research that I've just talked about comes through in these articles. So there's a lot of buzz. The articles are really interesting because I find them quite inspiring, and you can pick up tips and advice through the articles and editorial coverage that we've got covered here. So a good reason for us to share it with you guys to get insights in a national sense.
Great. Thank you, Suzanne. We'll move on to covering off on choosing your ideas. So I'm sure a lot of the people that we've got on the webinar today have a bit of an idea in mind of what their side business could look like. And for some of us, I'm sure it's something that maybe it's proprietary and we don't want to share straight away. But I think that first thing that really comes into any kind of idea that you'll need for your business is it needs to be something that you've got some sort of interest in. And so the best side hustles that we've seen, and the ones that we really see blossom at Lawpath, is when someone's taking their side hustle idea really based on the idea that it's something that won't feel like work to them in some sort of a sense. Obviously, there's going to have to be work attached to what you do. It's always part of what happens. But if it can be something that just feels like it's just really almost like a hobby to you, or something that's almost recreation, that's where we see the greatest success, where people are so passionate about it that they're really happy to put in those hours because it's something that they want to really fill their time with. So some great research from GoDaddy here is telling us that from 1 in 4 starting a side hustle is that passion project. And that's something that I think is really consistent with what we definitely see at Lawpath as well. And I wanted to share a little bit about my own kind of ventures into the world of side hustles. And it's something that I've done quite a bit of work in different stages of my career. And prior to starting Lawpath, I had my own music tuition business. So when I was in university, it was I worked a job, and then I also started my own music tuition business to really keep my opportunity to play piano and guitar and have a chance to actually do that. So I would teach children every weekend and do lessons there, which was really my first venture into this space. And then I really hovered around into a bunch of different things. So when I had another full-time job prior to working at Lawpath, I wanted to do more in the world of social media and content marketing. And I loved the show South Park at the time. It was something that I always enjoyed, probably because my parents wouldn't let me watch it as a kid. And so I actually started my own social media fan page about the show. And that got to over 250,000 followers. And we created a number of content websites attached to actually different things around like fan pics from the show, reviews of episodes and the likes. And that ended up being a really big stream for me. You know, at peak times that was doing over 1 million page views in a month. So that was a really fun part into there. And then more recently, I've been part of the cult that is F45, and it's been something that I've always really loved, is being involved in fitness. And even just recently with my local gym there, I said, hey, is there anything I can do to help out and being able to help you guys to grow in terms of doing some local business marketing and some advice and whatnot. So that's been another way that I've had an opportunity to really involve myself. And it's always been things that I've had a really strong passion for. And I think if you've got a skill set and then you can really align that with a passion in an area that you're really fond of, it really doesn't feel like work. And everything that I was involved in these different ventures, it never felt like it was doing something for work. It felt like it was just really a hobby that I had, as the way that somebody might have, you know, hobbies in terms of collecting things or going fishing or playing sport or whatever that might be. It was that same kind of way. And it's really interesting. Suzanne's got this fantastic, GoDaddy have this fantastic research that, Suzanne, I'll let you talk about, but there's a really quite a big range of different side hustles that people are looking to start at the moment.
Yeah, and we included this again just for inspiration. And I totally agree with Tom's point around the passion projects and side hustles generally, and often are made up of those types of projects where it doesn't feel like work. It feels like, you know, you're living that passion that you had and you're just bringing it to life in a different way. But what we found here was the most popular side hustles are broken out here, and we've included arrows where it's skewed from a gender perspective. But 33% of the side hustles were based on businesses that were made from self-made goods. So you can see there's a whole range of different verticals, but the bucket is around people making goods themselves and then selling those, and that's their side hustle. So that's the largest group. That's followed by professional services and expertise. So you can see marketing, accounting, education and tutoring, all of those services, businesses that support those and offer that to the general public. A slight skew to men there driving those businesses. And then the third is third-party products. So again, it's a product offering, but instead of the first group that are self-made, these are third-party goods or services that are on-sold. And then you can see that the list pulls from there: personal care and services, construction and trade, transport and storage follow, with pet care and services sitting at that point. So a whole range of different verticals and avenues you can go into from a side hustle perspective. But yeah, just reiterating, I think that passion piece is really important. You don't want it to feel like work. When you get home from work, you don't want to start work again. You need to be passionate about the not just the side hustle concept, but the business itself. The next slide here, we include this in, so obviously I've mentioned that GoDaddy is a global international business, and we also have a very heavy presence here in Australia. And often I'm talking to Australian entrepreneurs and very much they're thinking about the Australian market and their Australian business. And often what I love about GoDaddy is we have that connection to other markets and other global locations, the US, New Zealand, APAC. And what I love is this slide here links to our US blog and information around how to find niche ideas for your business. So it's super on topic, but it just gives a global lens to this topic and allows you to think about it more internationally. And I think it's particularly relevant when you're in a certain vertical. So let's say you're in the self-made products group that I just talked about, and you're selling mirrors that you've made, and that's your passion and that's your side hustle. You probably, in the GoDaddy network of our blogs internationally, you'll find other mirror sellers, probably a bad example, but maybe it exists. And you will then have a like-minded learning and understanding from people and side hustlers selling mirrors in other markets. And I think that's a really nice way to think about your business, rather than just always focusing on Australia and Australia insights. Thanks, Tom.
Awesome. Thanks, Suzanne. That's something that we see very much in terms of people coming through and starting new businesses on Lawpath. Again, it's something that often they're taking inspiration from something that's looking quite successful in another market and looking to repurpose and localize it here. There's a lot of on top of that, often when it comes to finding that new idea, you want to be driven by market demand as well. So I think that generally most of us have a good gut for that we find something that we believe and perceive to be a problem, that there'll be other people who want that problem solved as well. So I think a lot of the time, if you feel like the problem is unique to you, it's probably not the case. But what you can often do to really just be able to really back that up with a little bit of data as well is there's a range of different tools that can help you to understand market demand. And so I wanted to just share a couple of these that can be really helpful in being able to kick off that journey. So one of them that's obviously very popular at the moment is using different AI tools, whether that's OpenAI's ChatGPT, or if you're using Google's Bard. They can offer quite a good kind of well-rounded perspective of you being able to say, this is who I am, these are my interests, these are some of the things that I would like to consider looking to start, and they can give you a bit of an idea of what the kind of marketability of that is and if that's a good idea or not based on the data they collect. There's a lot of different newsletters like Trends and Glimpse, which really do a great job of like quantitatively looking across things like Google, social media, and mentions of different products and services, and really being able to repurpose that into a report that can show if there's growing demand for different products or services as well. So they can be good things to look at. Google Trends is a great free way of being able to get started there as well. So just chucking in what you have in mind into Google Trends, it can give you an idea of if there's some existing search demand that will exist there, as will a tool like Ubersuggest, or really any type of keyword research tool. And so these will allow you to see quantitatively how many monthly searches a different product or service is getting. And that can be a really good way for you to look at and say, well, there already is some existing demand here. And that can also really help then fuel your marketing strategy and saying, well, search marketing could be a great approach here, given that there's already demand. And then there's a range of other services. One that I just wanted to call out that I found really interesting in early days was a service that actually is now acquired by eBay called Terapeak, which shows you for the different areas that you're looking at in the different categories, what are the most in-demand products and services that someone might look to sell. So again, it's trying to just back up what you have in mind with making sure that there's actually an existing market for that as well, which I think is a really important thing to consider. So just some of the other considerations that come in around your business idea is you want to be thinking around, does my idea really make for good business? Is it something where really when I put down some numbers, is there a good opportunity for me to make an amount of revenue that, factoring in what costs are involved, so how much it is going to be to purchase product or deliver on a service or outsource different work, is it something that actually really makes sense to me and my profit margin, something where I'm happy with where that looks? And I think what I've seen a few side hustles really fall apart with is that they got a great idea, but the costs involved of actually really getting it running is a really difficult thing then to maintain. And so, to the data that Suzanne was showing before, you can really get started in an ideal world without a lot of upfront capital to really get things going. And I think that often makes for a good side business where you can get things going without having to do a great amount of upfront expenditure and really be able to validate your idea and then look to see if it's something that's worthwhile to invest more into. And then it's thinking about, when will I be able to actually break even? If it's something where you need to run at a loss for a period of time, what's a point where I actually feel like I'm financially sustainable? Is it something that's feasible? Do I have the skills and resources and time required to also make something happen? So you've got to think, obviously, is there something that you're really wanting to go into? Where is it something that's going to be a development piece for you, where you don't have the existing skill set, but you're wanting to grow into that existing skill set? And if that's the case, then it's obviously something where you're going to need to invest a little bit more time into it. I see a lot of businesses that will start where they might be freelance businesses and they've got a certain service that they want to sell, and it might be like, I offer social media advisory work or helping people with their social media work, but they don't have a great deal of experience up front, but it's something that they're wanting to learn. And that really then has to factor into, obviously, what you can charge and how much you're going to need to invest to get that going. Because someone who's got those skills and has acquired them a bit earlier on, it's going to take them less time, and it's going to be something that they can potentially charge more for as well. So really think about what's your specialty, and the area that you're wanting to go into is important. And then, will you enjoy investing your spare time into growing this business? And I think this is such an important one, because what we said before about really being able to invest in time and putting a passion, really relating your passions to your side businesses. If you're not going to enjoy spending your working, like after your working hours, going in and saying, well, now I've got to deal with these customer requests, or writing content, or hosting a video, handling my social accounts, doing all the different parts that come into running your side business. If you're not going to enjoy doing that, then it's going to be really hard for you to really do that when your motivation levels are dropping as well. So you've really got to think, is this the right thing where I can really see myself being able to invest that time? And that's where I think you're really trying to find that intersection between where it's a great idea from a revenue generation and a profit margin perspective, but then also from your own passion perspective as well. All right, so getting into your business name. So we wanted to do a quick giveaway. So good to see that the chat's working here as well. So we want to give everyone an opportunity to give us an idea of how they would look to name a potential side business. So let's put a hypothetical in front of you. Your friend needs help in naming her side business for exotic protein dog chews. It's a side business specializing in creating dog chews from exotic proteins like kangaroo, venison, and bison. These are great for dogs with allergies to common proteins like chicken or beef. So we'll give everybody a chance to chuck in their answer into the chat. Now, we won't judge any of your answers. So the best thing to do here is actually just to get something in to give yourself a chance of winning out. And we've got a free 1-year Lawpath Essential subscription on the line here, valued at over $450. So just put into the chat what you think might be a good name for an exotic protein dog chews business. And I'll let Suzanne, once we get a few answers in, be the judge of which one we think is best. Okay, we're starting to get a few answers popping in. All right, just work on putting the first thing that comes into your head in, and we'll give it 30 seconds just to get all of the answers in, and then we'll pick which one. Well, Suzanne, I'll let you pick which one resonates the most with you. And just to check, Suzanne, can you see these coming through on the chat?
Yeah, I've got them. Okay. The last one was treat a dog, is that?
Yes. Yeah, that's it from Christy. All right. You've got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Any that stand out for you, Suzanne? You want to give yourself a second to have a look through?
I think there's some great ones there. I think treat a dog is a fantastic one, and probably the winner. It talks to the benefit, i.e. it's a treat, and it talks to the category, which it's for dogs. So Yeah, great. Congrats
Fantastic.
to Christy.
Yeah, so well done, Christy. So reach out after the webinar, Christy, and we'll send a follow-up email with what you need to do to actually then claim that offer. But well done, and thanks for everyone for entering in. Good, some good names there though. It was a pretty would have been a tough decision, and it's good to see that everyone's got that idea of really obviously aligning the name of the business into obviously what it's functioning with and what actually it's doing. And so look, the name of your business is an area where I think it's something that you need to invest a little bit of time in, not at a point where it's detrimental to you focusing on other areas of your business, but it is an important thing to really establish as part of being your brand identity, because it's going to be the cornerstone of your brand. It's going to be something that you're going to want to have to use on all of your materials. When you're making sales calls, you're going to have to mention the name. So it's going to be something that obviously resonates with you. And if it's something that really attaches to the personality, values, and services that you provide, that's always a great win as well. And the more memorable your name is, the better. And so I think this is really important also, and Suzanne will get into this from a domain perspective as well, and the searchability of your business. It's got to be something that everything really lines up in someone being able to find and access you. So when it comes in around availability, so there's a couple of things that you really need to check. So it's something that is really spread out across a few different areas. So one thing that you want to first and foremost check is your business name availability. Is it something where, if I actually have a look, has anyone else in Australia registered my business name that I'm going after? So that's the first thing that you'll want to look to check. You can do that on Lawpath. You can do that on the government website as well. Trademark availability as well. Is it a name that I can actually trademark and protect, so that it's something that I can really use as a cornerstone of my overall business moving forward? Are my social media handles available? So I really want to check, particularly with the social media accounts I'm intending to use, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, what are the ones that are available for me? And it is something that I can really look to grab. And then any additional legal registrations that might potentially come in for here as well. But Suzanne, I think obviously a key one that I'm always considering as well is domain name availability.
Absolutely. I think all of these decisions need to be made in the one moment, because they're all very much interlinked, especially the business name and domain name. So it's really easy to search for domain names using the GoDaddy tools, and the link to the pages on this document. And it's actually quite a fun experience. I think this, again, when I speak to Aussie entrepreneurs, this moment of having the idea and coming up with the name, it's a really fun moment, and it gets really exciting, especially when you're using GoDaddy to check the name's availability and it comes up with, yes, it's available. So really super easy to do. When you're thinking about your domain name, making it short and sweet is really important. So you're going to need to be saying the domain name, and people need to remember it. Memorability is key, to Tom's point. You also need to put it in your marketing. So you don't want a long name that is hard to think about, remember, cumbersome, basically. So short and sweet is the key, and easy to spell. So some words aren't known or widely used, or the spelling of them people have always struggled with. So always just make sure the spelling is nice and simple on users. And then when you're thinking about your domain name availability, sorry, that's a bit of a long one there. Think about the extensions. So in Australia, most Australians use .com.au as their domain extension when they're in this market. However, they also, entrepreneurs like to get a .com. So check the availability of the .com. And then last year we launched the .au domain, and .au domains are fantastic. You don't actually even need an ABN for those. So if you've got a side hustle that you're just starting and you don't even have an ABN yet, you can get check the availability of the .au, and that allows you to get started. And then when you get more serious in your business, then you get the ABN with Lawpath and the .com.au and all the other extensions. So that's just a nice way to kind of maybe enter in if you're just putting your toe in the water on your business idea. You can also think about extensions that show where you are in the community or the localness of your business. So obviously Australians get a .com.au to show their local and Aussie, which is fantastic, but you can get a .Sydney or a .Melbourne. Or if you're in a community, you can get extensions that reflect that you are in that community. So .pet for pet lovers, .gay, you know, there's lots of community extensions as well. So when you're checking the availability of the domain name, obviously you'll check for .com.au and also for .com. But those other extensions, the .au and the community extensions, are also fairly valid as well. So I would be looking at all of those when you're in this sort of availability moment.
Awesome. Thank you, Suzanne. And I think it's always a great feeling jumping onto GoDaddy and finding something that is available in getting, I guess, that perfect combination right. But actually, one thing I really love about what GoDaddy does beyond really, I think, what a lot of other tools do, not just in the domain space, but in the business name and the like, is it gives you suggestions of some like-minded names as well that are quite close variations where there is availability should the one that you're after maybe not be available. And I think that's always great because there's always a good alternative out there. Awesome. All right, well, we're going to move into business structure. So business structure is an area that as your business grows, you're going to need to think more and more about. But there's a couple of things that will first come up in that you want to consider. And so in terms of the different business structures that you might want to look at, so there's really three main ones that we see the most of at Lawpath, which are the sole trader, the partnership, and the company structures. So in really getting into this, I need to first, a bit of a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer myself, so I can't offer legal advice on what ideally your business structure should be, and it's something that you should be getting both legal and accounting advice around for your own individual circumstances. But there are a few considerations that are going to go into each of these structures that you'll want to think through. And I think a lot of it really comes down to what is the level of investment and also things like your appetite for risk and liability that you actually really want to put in around your business structure. So typically, some of the things that we want to be thinking through is there much risk in my business? And with your sole trader and partnership structures, and sole trader being the most common one that we see, you do also run an additional risk of down the track that your personal assets could be at risk if something were to happen within the business where you were being sued by an employee or a customer had an issue with a product or a service. So it doesn't really give you an additional veil between yourself individually and the company as an entity. So that's why as things start to grow and you start to take on more customers, more employees, and there is more in your business that is a risk of losing, that often people will then make that transition over to being in a company structure. And that's also into considerations around, am I hiring employees or contractors? Generally, as you grow in that same way, that's another thing that you'll want to consider potentially under a company structure. How much income and cash will be in the business. And so, tax is going to be a little bit different depending on which of these structures that you actually go through and choose. So that's going to be another thing that you'll really want to talk to your lawyer and your accountant about. Are there any different verticals within the business? It's something where you're transitioning into, there's different kinds of arms of how the business is run. I'm really thinking about things around like, are the different people that I'm splitting my income with, whether that's family or friends or business colleagues as well. How much profit am I expecting? And with all of this as well, I think an important thing that you do want to consider as well is you can start with one business structure and then really look to make a shift into another. And the most common thing that we see is that people start out their side business where it's usually just themselves, and they might start under a sole trader structure. They'll get things established, and once they start to generate some income and want to look to grow things, that's when they might look to put in a more sophisticated structure like a company in place. So there's a lot of considerations that come in this space, and I think the main thing to think about is Is this something that from day one, I'm going to have a lot of risk in, and my investment in that is going to be high, at which point maybe a company structure is something to consider? Or is it something where I'm looking to just get the ball rolling, and it's something that I might transition to at a later stage? If you're not sure, and I think probably the best thing to have a look at is we've got an interactive quiz that you can take on Lawpath through the link that we'll share. And this will just really basically ask you a bunch of questions based on your business and your circumstances, and really help you to identify which would be the best structure for your business at its present state. And then you can look to do that registration, and we can cover all of the registrations on Lawpath. Okay, great. When it comes to setting up online, definitely GoDaddy are the experts here. So Suzanne, I'm going to pass this over to you.
Thanks, Tom. So yeah, as I said on the top of the call, GoDaddy has all the products you need to help you succeed online in business. And I'm just going to run you through some of those today. Your website obviously is essential to defining your brand and business in the online environment. And with GoDaddy, you can easily set up a website for your side hustle or your business. And it's really, really simple. You can go in, you can select from professionally designed templates, and they're actually built to suit different industries as well. And what that allows you to do is really simply, and using modules, create a website that looks super slick and professional. And the output of that is that it builds trust with your customers, because they are going to a professionally designed environment that looks good on both the desktop, so on their laptops, but also on their mobile device, which is how a lot of Australian consumers are consuming website content. The other benefit of using a GoDaddy website building tool is it has SEO optimizations built into it, which basically means that it helps your website appear in Google searches organically when someone searches for your business or searches for the category that your business is within. The other piece that I love about the GoDaddy website builder is it has the opportunity to plug in marketing tools, and I'm a marketer by trade, and it really does make it really easy for small business owners to tap into marketing channels like social media and email marketing that are often hard to navigate if you set them up just directly. Email marketing, I think, is particularly important. So sometimes when you start a side hustle, you might start with a social presence, but having a website allows you to capture your customers' data or your site visitors' data, and allows you to remarket to them for free and have a database of potential leads that you can stay top of mind with. And you can do that for free through email marketing. So, so a website is super important for your digital presence. It's sort of like your online storefront is probably a great way to think about it. And as I said, within GoDaddy, we have products that you can do it yourself. You can start for free and get going, and we'll grow with you as your business grows. Or you can have our team of website design services experts build it for you in a short period of time based on your timeline. Domain names are the second piece. I've talked a lot about this in the upfront section. I think just the main thing from a domain perspective is you really want to think about your domain names as your branding in an online environment, and it's sort of like your digital identity. So it's really important that you don't just get the .com.au domain extension. You really try, and if you have a specific domain name, you buy the extensions to protect your brand and ensure that copycats can't emulate you in an online environment. Web hosting, obviously it's super critical to select a reliable web hosting service, and GoDaddy's super robust in this space. It's really important to ensure you keep your customers' trust by having the right hosting service to suit your business and your traffic. So when you start off, you might need a certain type of hosting level. And then as your traffic grows and your website size grows, you probably will find that you'll need more sophisticated and enhanced hosting. So just one to watch, that you are on the right hosting deal with GoDaddy as you move through your journey. And what you're looking for is reliability, i.e. that your website doesn't crash, and then fast load times so that your site loads really quickly and your customers experience your site straight off, and it doesn't take a moment or two with the swirling wheel to lose that customer on the journey. So hosting is super important in that regard. Do you want to just jump to the next slide? The next piece here is we work with Microsoft and offer Microsoft email. And what this basically means is we sell a product that when you email your customer base, your email naming convention links directly to your domain extension. So it looks professional and trusted, and your consumers have confidence as a result of that connection between the two names in the email channel with your brand. So it really is just a way to ensure you look professional and you build trust with your customers. An e-commerce platform. So I mentioned that a lot of the side hustle businesses are selling products, either self-made products or they're third-party products that are being on-sold. And so an e-commerce platform is obviously essential for those types of businesses. And what you're looking for is all the things we just spoke about in the website building section. But we also, in an online store, just need to think about the navigation and ensuring that the cart experience is robust and that you really present your shipping options really clearly for customers so that they have a great online transaction on your site. With GoDaddy, you can also plug in online appointments. So if your business is focused around appointment setting, using your website to achieve that for you rather than doing that manually in your business, not only saves time, but it's more efficient and effective for your customers and clients as well. I've already talked about discoverability, tapping in and making sure your website taps into the marketing channels that we've mentioned here. It's just fantastic how websites now allow you to do that and makes it so much easier. And then the last thing is, from a design perspective, we have a product within our suite called GoDaddy Studios, and it's a really great, easy to use product that allows you to design and build great video content, social media content, and really elevates your technical ability from here to here. It's a bit of a fantastic product to make sure your brand presents well in those channels where video and nicely designed assets are important. So there's everything you need at GoDaddy. And as I said, it does really help you to get started, but it does help also have the products to ensure that as you grow, we grow with you, and you have the products that delight your customers in an online environment. Thanks, Tom. I think that's the slide. The next slide here, we worked with Mark Boris to develop a series of content snippets, and they're about 8 minutes each, and they link from this slide in the deck that you'll get. And it really just, Mark Boris was building a side hustle, and he has a bee business, Mark Boris Bees, and he was using the GoDaddy products to get his bee business set up online. And so it's a really great tutorial, probably takes about 45 minutes all up, just to look at all the different products that GoDaddy has and all the different tips and tricks and advice that the GoDaddy Australia team and Mark Boris had to help you succeed. So please take the time to watch them. They're all on YouTube and easily accessible, either directly or through this deck.
Great. Thank you, Suzanne. Yeah, it's a fantastic series. Really enjoyed going through those, and it's a really great starting point for being able to actually really, for this next part of what we want to talk about as well, which is getting that very first customer of yours. And so I love just showing, I see this in so many different TV shows and on walls of people framing up that very first dollar that they've made and really being able to find that first customer. And it's something that often in time when we start our side business, sometimes we do it and we've already got our first customer in mind, but it is a fantastic feeling when, you know, you've really had this idea, you put a name behind it, and you're getting to a point where you're actually taking payment for that first customer. And it's great to see the notification pop through of that, if you're doing that and transacting online, or if it's just something where you're taking payment otherwise. But either way, it's a really great part of what you're looking to do. And there's a few steps that you can take in really being able to get this going. And so I think it's really important that you've got to really put yourself out there as part of this. And the first step is always understanding the target audience. So really understanding with the idea that you have and who you're looking to go after, who is the ideal person that you're looking to target, and really what are their needs, their interests, behaviors. Where are they gathering? Where are they talking? Are there things like Facebook groups and forums and subreddits where there's a lot of conversation that they're really tying back to what it is that you are looking to sell? Because that will give you a really good idea of the language they use, the pain points that they're identifying, and different ways of being able to do things around like pricing and being able to offer a go-to-market. Then really understanding what your unique selling proposition is going to be. What sets you apart from everything else out there? What's the unique angle that you can tie back? And again, really doing this piece around the target audience can help to establish that. And then first step, which can really be a great way of getting things going, is just networking and putting yourself out there. I see so many, I look at this, I quite often see this in like a professional services type of sense, where somebody has been working in their job and then they've said, I want to start doing some consulting work, or I want to take something on additionally there, and they actually go through the process of just putting something out on their LinkedIn or on their social accounts and saying, hey, I'm going to offer up my expertise as part of this, and I'm looking for work. If you know anybody, or if you're looking for some additional assistance in X, Y, Z, here's how I can help. And that's a great way of just being able to work through the existing networks that you have, where you've already got a really strong establishment of trust, where there shouldn't have to be those longer sales cycles and being able to get something over the line. And then you might want to potentially look at doing some sort of a launch promotion. So is there some sort of special deal, a discount that you can use as something to actually attract first customers and build some sort of urgency? Is it I'll give something away at a cost price, or something that's, you know, at a reduced price, as a way of being able to first attract in some additional business. And that can be a great way of then being able to just get a few people through the door and really see how they interact, even if it's something where you're not making a huge amount of money in those first couple of customers. And then from there, it's really important to think about what you do from your follow-ups from there. So when it goes into getting additional customers from there, you really want to look at really ensuring that you're offering a fantastic additional first experience for your customers. So if you can really over deliver from an experience side of things for them, that's going to be something that really sets you apart. And they'll say, well, wow, this was fantastic. How can I look to help you? And if you're going out and saying, can you give me a review, a testimonial? Can you do a short video? Just take a quick iPhone video of the type of service or the product that you received. Can you do a social post about it? That's a really strong way of being able to build up trust with potential customers. And we all know that we're often purchasing and making consumer decisions off of social proof. So it's really important that we look to leverage that with our first customers that are coming in. This is the second one around following up, that I just think people do not do enough of. So once you've got customers who have made their first purchase, follow up with them, ensure they're satisfied. And also, it's a great opportunity for you to potentially get some repeat business from them as well. And then once you've got things going and you've got some really happy customers that have come through, consider some sort of a referral incentive. I find the best type of customers you can get are the ones you can get through referrals, because that whole piece around trust and discovery is shortened by quite some way if you're getting people through word of mouth and through referrals. So what can you actually set up as an incentive? So it could be something where you're saying, hey, if you refer out and get me a new customer, that new customer gets 10% off, and I'll give you 10% off your first order. I'll give you some sort of finder's fee as well. So you want to be thinking about what you can do to really over deliver on those first customers, to then be able to leverage that and really create additional business through that word of mouth and those referral channels. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for all of the great insights. And it's an area that I know both of us are really passionate about, is helping people to really flourish and really take on that opportunity and really try something new and actually being able to establish themselves with a side business. So thanks for all of the info, and yeah, we'll make sure that we send all of the different follow-ups and the offerings that GoDaddy have and Lawpath have for you to really be able to get started with that. And yeah, here's to making sure that in this new financial year, you're really setting yourself up for success in your side business, and hopefully it's something that can really blossom.
Thanks, Tom. It was a great session, and I hope it was helpful. And yeah, hope everyone has a good end of financial year. Thank you.
Great. Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll speak soon. Thank you.